Well, hello, that's me again. Today is May 25th. It is Saturday. And let's not procrastinate. Let's get into something which I didn't plan to do, but I have to. So here we are. We have the claims of the Ukrainian Telegram channels primarily sources from Ukraine, because this is where it all originated. And these are the screenshots from some video which was done by somebody. Obviously, I will show you where it could have been done from, of the attack on the part of the Voronezh over the horizon radar, which is, well, the range of the Voronezh is about 6,000 kilometers, up to 6,000 kilometers, and it is a crucial part of Russia's SPRN, the system of the warning of the missile attack, including, of course, ballistic missiles. And as you can see yourself, there are strange kind of situation with this whole Voronezh thingy, because allegedly Ukraine, I assume, it was attacked by Ukraine. Yet, if you look attentively at the what is called Palatno, which is the plane of AISA, active electronically scanned radar. It's a colossal structure, actually. It's very high. It's more than 35 meters high and something like 20 meters in width. So you can calculate yourself the area, and you can see yourself not a single element of the system was somehow touched. Yet it looks like the building itself somehow exploded from the inside. There is also a very strange entrance thing into this other building, which the other part of the radar, and it looks that there is no any kind of charring from the explosion or anything like this. So it looks very strange. And again, these are screenshots. So let me show you where and how it all looks like. Most likely, if it has been done at all, as you can see yourself, this is Armavir radar station of Voronezh. The nearest road, which is still probably controlled visually, but yeah, it's nothing you can do about it, and where it could have been shot is in about, well, 4 kilometers away from radar station. The rest of the area, as you can see yourself, it's primarily fields with some forest on the perimeters. I mean, not really forest, the rows of the not very high trees. And what is really fascinating, it's been actually quite a long time now, and we had some kind of alleged space photos of some debris, not very large amount of debris. And as you can see yourself, it's not far from Armavir city, which is a large place, and it's also very close. It's about 2.5 kilometers from Gluboki village. So, by now, after which, actually, it's more than 24 hours. I think so. We're looking at least 48 hours. What we have, only those photos which are made from the very short video stream, which has shown us allegedly, damaged station. So, well, it's damaged, but as you can see yourself, the part which matters, which is the area of the AISA itself, so doesn't seem to be affected. Now, let's go further. Let's take a look where Armavir is. As you can see yourself, Armavir is the nearest where it theoretically, let's say, Storm Shadow missile could be launched. And again, Storm Shadow missile is, how to put it, it's, they say 500 kilometers range, some say it's up to 600 kilometer range, but if you take the any kind of the compass and draw the circumference or circle, you will see yourself that it's around area of the Krivoy Rog, or, from Dnipropetrovsk, which they call Dnipro now, where theoretically you could launch it if you are allowed to even launch it. You need to have some kind of the aircraft. So as you can see yourself, the range is 529 kilometers through the very air defense dense territory. So it doesn't look like it was anything which are cruise missiles. Now, obviously, ATACMS, which has the range of 300 kilometers, not even close, and the entrance, as you can see yourself, is horizontal. So we can definitely say that if the event happened, and that is the very important thing, if, then it was done primarily by some kind of the UAV and launched most likely some from the inside Russia. Now, the question, of course, is, are those things real? So what we have the hysteria by only one guy, his name of Mr. Rogozin, and Mr. Rogozin is a very big mouth. He has the, the reputation for doing this, and, speaking in a very large ideas, and very, loaded words. But the question here is what many people do not understand. That Rogozin, without knowing anything and just based on the two photos, which are screenshots, which nobody knows if they are real, he immediately attacked, which is, it's fine, it's okay. Ukraine is the, the beach, or American beach. So what he says, Ukraine attacked key element of Russian nuclear umbrella, Russian senator says. The US is so deeply involved in the conflict that it likely knew about Kyiv plans, Senator Dmitry Rogozin says. Yes, very well possible, but we're not there yet. However, what he says that, yeah, the US is directly responsible for Ukrainian strike on a key element of Russian nuclear umbrella. And here, what is the most important part? Defense Ministry has yet to comment on matter, while the extent of the damage remains unclear. And what is interesting, Rogozin is the only official of Russia who even said anything while looking at the photographs or the screenshots. Russian Defense Ministry doesn't panic. Nobody panics. And what we have only is this thing which was originated by Ukrainian Telegram channels. So the question is, yeah, there are some alleged, shots from space. Did attack occur? If it did, then we have to really seriously think about what the response might be. Obviously, I'm not talking about the fanboys which are already beginning as usual, go into the hysterical mode and say, oh, Russia is weak. Well, that's the point. It's called FUD. And if you don't know what FUD is, you just better look at it. And, fear, uncertainty, and other things of this nature. Because, guess what? Let's take a look why this is happening. And you will understand immediately that Ukraine actually operates on the same pattern, basically, which was developed within all kinds of the PR organizations such as CIA and MI6, who think that you can win the war only through the psychological operations. And as I already stated, when Russian Defense Ministry, if Russian Defense Ministry confirms this, I will tell and speculate a little bit about the response, which is possible. And again, I didn't want to do it, but I already see the hysteria in the Western media, and of course, as usual, because they are, well, they're sewer, the human garbage, and professionally they are nothing more but propagandists while talking about it. Yet, consequences of this should be very serious. And there was an attempt in Mordovia in April on other over-the-horizon radar, and it's also failed. And the question is not just technical thing, because the most important thing there are actually those elements of the active electronically scanned area which is there in the buildings, which actually does the real scanning of the horizon, over the horizon, and things of this nature. So why it is so? Well, how about that? If you take a look at yesterday's losses of the armed forces of Ukraine, as you can see yourself, their score grows, horrendously. They have lost in one day, again, 1,630 people, which is roughly 3 battalions. And again, I want to stress, this is Russian Defense Ministry data, and Russian Defense Ministry is extremely conservative on giving the losses. And the losses in this case you can multiply easily by 2, and you will get the actual losses throughout the day. And probably this number could easily be accepted, give and take, I don't know, 100 plus minus, as the KIAs only. If you take a look also at the score on the front, you have the 15 tanks and APCs with IFVs. You have 31 armored vehicles. You have 31 artillery and mortars annihilated, and a lot of it is happening in Kharkov area, and actually a couple of other villages already fell under Russian control. So we have a slaughter of the basically reserves by armed forces of Ukraine, and then we have this situation. So, well, somehow that's why those things, you know, like really fake photos actually of S-400. I mean, yeah, Russians lost a couple of S-400s throughout the special military operation, but it's just, you know, some photos without any, you know, geolocation. And obviously we know that NASA is known to post the fake space shots, and not only NASA, the other organizations which do the space control. And I'm not gonna go now into the Russian airfields, because that's the whole other story. But look at this. This is yesterday, guys. This is, I mean, just think about it, what you are observing. The General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine will reduce 60% of personnel and send some to the front. The reduction in the numbers will follow a functional survey of the staff of the General Staff, during which it was decided to change its structure. The reduced will be sent to combat units and to the command and control bodies on... okay. Why do you think you read this news? Well, because what is happening now, it's a catastrophe in an industrial scale in Kharkov. And again, people say, oh yeah, where's this red, you know, arrow offensive? Russians are not there to do red arrow, big arrow offensive. They are there to annihilate the remnants of the armed forces of Ukraine. What's not to understand? Nobody is going to be taking Kharkov. Why do you need to actually kill probably 10,000 of your personnel just taking the city, while it's gonna ripe and it will fall, you know, down on its own? The armed forces of Ukraine right now operate only on the American strategic vision, which is very well, let's put it this as amateurish. They know that they have eventually to stick all what's left of the armed forces of Ukraine in the cities to go back to the, you know, famous Hitler's Festungs. This is who actually influenced American strategic and operational vision. These were Germans from Wehrmacht. And they think that Russians will go and storm it as they did with Mariupol, for example. No, Russians will not do that. They will allow them to go into Kharkov, or for that matter Odessa, depending on what General Staff decides. I don't know. I'm not privy to General Staff information. And guess what? Russians will simply cut their you know, lines of communications, cut supplies, and then will wait. Absolutely. There is no need to actually expend any Russian lives. But going back to all this situation and why this suddenly coincides with all those, you know, throw-ins from the armed forces of Ukraine about how they're defeating Russians, you may say, but what if it's true? Which we don't know still. What if this attack on the, you know, what is the Russian early warning system, which is the critical strategic issue for any kind of country? Well, there are only two of them which do have it. It's Russia and the United States. Well, first, it may reduce somewhat, but actually Russia, don't forget, it's just I mean, part of the much larger system. And of course you have the satellites, cupola system, and other types of the satellites which are on the orbit and which actually monitor, for example, United States territory 24/7. And if you don't believe it, so yeah, you know what's your problem? But the point is, you can go out and look at the latest, actually. How funny, how convenient. Mr. Yegorov and Zvezda TV channel, Military Acceptance, they were making specifically video about, for example, on the foundation of the system radar called Dawn. And it's a wonderful 40-minute, the documentary, and shows a lot, not all of it, of course, but shows a lot how those systems operate and what are they. So, what can I say? You are more than welcome to go there, use the whatever the translation, application is on YouTube or anywhere, and it will translate it to you, and just watch. It will explain to you why Russians are, thinking about it. However, if this situation did happen, which is again yet to be confirmed, and United States was behind it, or God forbid, London. So let me put it this way: what could be the response of Russians? And Russians are hysterical people. They do things on a very deliberate manner. For starters, one of the responses will be, well, how to politely put it, you see this? This is the guy who runs the catastrophe in Ukraine. His name is Lieutenant General Aguto Jr. He is graduate of the West Point, and he is obviously the product of the US military. That means he doesn't understand what modern combined arms operations of scale are and how to fight the real war. But he is the guy, together with some people which are around him, who, as you can see yourself, which have been confirmed many times, as of December 2023, Aguda is being dispatched to Ukraine to improve the quality of advice afforded Ukraine during the winter offensive, because Ukrainian officials have asked their counterparts for more face time with senior military officials. There are senior military officials from the United States, and I can tell you immediately that Russians know their location. And if they didn't touch them, I can tell you this is absolutely 100% confirmed, including from my sources, some of them just nice people. Russians and Americans do talk. The problem, of course, what are the people on the American side who are talking to Russians? Do they even understand the implications and ramifications? But what if they don't, and if indeed United States have been behind this strike, whatever it was the strike, again, we don't know. We only have a couple of screenshots from Ukrainians. Well, they might really make lives of Mr. Aguta or whoever other American generals who are trying to actually learn something, or they also command, they advise those Ukrainians on their slaughter, basically. They already showed their illiteracy, operational and strategic illiteracy, and inability to command anything or plan anything. Russians can cut their lives really short. It's really easy to do. Because, well, Russians have pretty good ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance. But there is another thing, how Russia can respond. Let me again remind you. Remember this? This was in autumn of 2022. Russia warns West. We can target your commercial satellites. It has been reported not just by as they say, a senior Russian foreign ministry official. Actually, it was done by Mr. Lavrov himself. This thing has been reiterated several times. But as you understand, people from Washington and London, they are not very bright. They believe that they eat things, but they are not. So, can Russia shoot down American satellites or satellite just to demonstrate, that if this will continue, she will just simply obliterate American strategic assets of the early warning system? Yes. Russians do have anti-satellite weapons. They do have capabilities which the United States doesn't have, because they can shoot down things not only on the low Earth orbit, but actually pretty high up there, including up to 1,000 kilometers. For starters, Russians can simply just blow out the keyhole satellite, just, to prove the point. Could they? Yeah, absolutely. So, and here comes the question. Is the United States indeed behind this? I have, for now, it's my speculation, don't quote me on that I have the idea for now that no, not necessarily. They might have known it, but did they really want to do it? Some people in Washington are, bad crap crazy, we know that. But again, Washington is, and United States in general, is non-governable. That is why Russian diplomats constantly complain there's nobody to talk to in United States, because even if they offer something, I mean, it means absolutely nothing. United States is non-agreement capable. So in this case, you can basically go through all kinds of those scenarios of possible Russian response. But as I already stated, I just had to do it. I had to explain it for a simple reason, because obviously it's in the center of attention in the Western world. Russians kind of seems like shrugged it off, except for the hysterical, what is called the Telegram channels, most of which are garbage and are manipulated both by Western and Ukrainian special services. And as I already stated, most of them are really not military professionals. Most of them. I know who professionals are, and I have communications with them. But yeah, most of them from those famous Telegram channels are not professionals. So they basically collect all kinds of their, like tactical minutiae, oh yeah, here they blew up the tank. Oh, here is the photo of this and that. Yeah, whatever. So I hope I am done with this thing, and let's get to more important things. Remember this? This was done in 2014. After that, actually, all the NATO countries stated that there are no Nazis in Ukraine. Well, guess what? This is 3 days ago. Mr. Bojo, this low-life British piece of excrement, he, applauds and, as you can see yourself, having the banner of the Azov Nazi. It's not really battalion, it's more like brigade level formation, even more than that. It's the whole organization. You can easily recognize the 2nd SS Division Das Reich, famous Wolf's Hook, and Boji just enjoying those people. And guess what? A British Parliament, they had been invited there, really applauded them and approvingly, screamed at them. So, in approval and enjoy. So that everything you need to know about British elites. And they're, so they're Nazis, they're hidden, latent Nazis, when they are not pedophiles, of course, or maybe both. So this is everything you need to know about present-day England. And you know what? As case with the Canada, I don't see any value for Russians to keep even diplomatic relations with United Kingdom, because they are pipsqueaks. They are terrorist state basically run by nincompoops with a huge egos and very low intellectual and educational level. And now they applaud Nazis. They just enjoy it. They love those. And don't forget, Azov proved itself not very militarily combat efficient. They are very good at killing civilians, raping, stealing, selling children's organs, which probably go to in such countries as the United Kingdom too. So that's what they're good for. But I mean, militarily, yeah. And again, I quote Colonel McGregor that obviously, in terms of the British Army, as he called it, British Armed Forces are Lilliputian. And so the only thing they can do is to organize the terrorist act, for example, and advise GUR and the terrorists which are sitting there on killing civilians. This is what British are good at. I'm not talking about British people. Most of British people are actually not necessarily bad people. I'm talking about the political elite which sits in London. And yeah, you don't have to even touch them. You need actually probably the course of antibiotics if you ever shake the hand of any kind of current serving whatever person from British Parliament or government. Well, a few exceptions. George Galloway is member of parliament, and he's an honorable and good man. But again, he's a minority. Majority of them are just what they are, and they support Nazis because Nazis kill Russians. And nothing more, pleases the British political heart, especially the inbred elites, than to see Russian civilians suffer. Because in the end, they were almost 1 millimeter away from supporting Hitler, if not for Churchill interference, who actually recognized what Great Britain was facing and who he wanted to have, even if it was situational, ally. And of course, it was Stalin and Soviet Union. But it's just old history and old trivia, if you wish. So let's go now to which is really important. It's Vladimir Putin already met today, actually, with the captains of industries, and he's talking about military-industrial complex, and as you can see yourself, he is surrounded by people of the very high profile, if you look at the photograph, and enterprises of the military-industrial complex during the special operation in Ukraine have significantly increased the volume of arms production and are fulfilling the state defense order on time and sometimes even ahead of schedule. The president stressed that the most defense enterprises fulfill those orders. So, and what else does he say? Well, he says this, and here are the numbers for you to understand. And before the special military operation, don't forget, Russia was already doing really well. But now, hear what he talks about. Here are the numbers. According to the president, the increase in rocket and artillery weapons was more than 22 times growth. 22 times. In electronic warfare and reconnaissance, 15 times. In ammunition and weapons, 14 times. In cars, I mean vehicles for the 7 times. In personal armor protection, 6 times. In aviation equipment and unmanned aerial vehicles, 4 times. In armored weapons, almost 3.5 times. It is important to continue to increase the rhythmic supply of the armed forces with modern high-tech weapons and equipment, Putin said. The numbers he articulated, which are true numbers, I can confirm you, I have kind of, circumstantial evidence of that, are staggering. This is the surge capability no freaking country in the world can do. How Russia did it? Well, you have to ask those people who were making those, well, how to put it politely, let's not procrastinate. I explain some of it. Well, I wrote 4 books now, and here's my book, which finally went into the circulation. And as you can see yourself, it is called, it's officially now on the Amazon. Now officially because you can buy it including in EPUB version, which is, you buy electronically. I think so it should be ready next week. But here it is. That's called America's Final War. It should go into paperback before August. But yeah, the title says it all. And I explain on 230 pages why it is America's final war and why America is not ready for the modern 21st century war. And how to put it, just, if you want to learn something, you're certainly more than welcome to read it. And as my good friend Pepe Escobar said, it is a culmination of what other 3 books I wrote, because in other 3 books I pretty much predicted what is going to happen in terms of the America getting involved into wars against Russia. And I explained why United States is militarily not even in the same league as Russia. Listen to Scott Ritter and Nima 2 days ago. Scott went out on, he did a good job explaining things, why it is not what it looks like, even with all those spins. So, and in conclusion, we have to obviously mention this thing. We know that it's already failure, but hey, whatever. Ukraine Peace Summit, another US-invented scam, Moscow says, as Maria Zakharova, and of course we're talking about this alleged June 15-16 summit in Lake Lucerne, which, by the way, neither Biden nor Kamala Harris going there. China is not going there. Russians obviously ignore that. India, I don't know, they probably will send somebody. But other than that, then you have all those nincompoops, which appear insignificant countries which decide absolutely nothing, who will be represented there by probably second-tier officials. And as I already stated last time, Zelensky already reduced his demands to basically what amounts to 3 points out of 10, and they are absolutely insignificant. And Reuters was out there lying about that Russia wants negotiations. Russia doesn't want negotiations. As Peskov debunked them, and Russia was always open to negotiations, but Russia doesn't want negotiations. And especially the key phrase in all those statements by Vladimir Putin and senior Russian officials for the last 2.5 years was very simple: only with the consideration of the realities on the ground. So there you go. And yeah, when you look attentively at the composition, so to speak, of people who go there, it's already failure, and Russians don't care about undermining it or not. It's just, clown Chapiteau circus, and that's what it is. And the main issue today is, of course, how Russians will react to what I said, if it happened. Other than that, I didn't look at the losses for today. I believe they even higher. So we're looking now at basically every day, half of the brigade is killed. I mean, this is insane. And that is why they throw into this, FUD issues, fear, uncertainty. So there you go, desperation. So that's everything what is being thrown at people, and very many people, sadly, and I don't blame them, they buy it. So, but this is what I wanted to tell you today, guys, for your weekend, so to speak. And as always, I want to express my profound gratitude to my wonderful patrons. And as always, those who like what I do, please subscribe to my channel. And those who can afford it, please support me just on Patreon or buying me a coffee too. And that's it for today, guys. Have a nice weekend, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.